faithfully delivering value, unlocking great books from around the world. Hi, this is Sally talking books. Today, we're exploring BJ Fogg's book, Tiny Habits. Many of us have tried changing habits only to give up halfway. Like dieters who cave to cravings after just days, we blame willpower or laziness, spiraling into self-criticism. But Fogg argues failure comes from methods, not ourselves. With the right approach, anyone can build lasting habits. Fogg founded Stanford's Behavior Design Lab. With 20-plus years research, he created Tiny Habits in 2011 for anxiety-free change. Most programs obsess over motivation and willpower. Tiny Habits starts with 30-second actions that snowball into big shifts. His Tiny Habits Academy has transformed 120,000-plus lives. Entrepreneurs even built hit apps like that photo-sharing giant, Instagram. His work fuels bestsellers worldwide. Books like Growth Hacking and Atomic Habits only scratch the surface. This book delivers Fogg's complete, authoritative system. Robert Cialdini calls it substantial and exciting. iPod inventor Tony Fadell says it demystifies behavior.
Mastering tiny habits is crucial, from weight loss to startups.
The 180,000-character book spans 8 chapters. Fogg breaks down behavior elements and how to design your habits. I'll unpack the book's core ideas in 3 parts. First, what elements influence behavior? Second, how to implement tiny habit strategies. Third, how to stop harmful habits. Let's begin with part 1, what drives behavior. The author summarizes his theory as B equals map minus the Fogg Behavior Model. B is behavior, M is motivation, A is ability, P is prompt. All 3 must align for action to occur. Now let's examine each element. First element, motivation, our desire to act. Sources vary. Intrinsic, like craving dessert, external rewards or avoiding punishment, or social pressure, like a child eating veggies to avoid parental criticism. Environment also fuels motivation. When a show trends everywhere, even uninterested people might watch it. Second element, ability, the behavior's difficulty level. Actions must be within our capability. Easier actions more readily become habits. 50 daily push-ups, most would refuse immediately.
But 2 push-ups? Far more sustainable. Ability and motivation must synergize.
When both are strong, success follows easily. Third element, prompt, behavior's immediate trigger. It signals when to act. We encounter hundreds daily. Green lights mean accelerate. Phone alerts demand attention. Hunger cues prompt eating. Even with strong motivation and ability, we act only when prompted. Many consider motivation paramount, using rewards or punishments to drive behavior. But the author argues motivation is the least reliable element. Focusing solely on it rarely sustains long-term change because motivation fluctuates. At times, people experience surges of intense motivation, like slackers cramming all night before finals, but such high motivation is fleeting. Once exams end, they revert to old patterns. Thus, we can't rely on peak motivation for lasting habits. Over 100 million enroll in online courses yearly, yet most quit midway. Studies show less than 10% actually finish these courses. Students start enthusiastically focused, but motivation gradually fades. Even non-refundable paid courses see high dropout rates. Long-term plans made during motivation peaks often overestimate ability. After realizing they're overweight, someone might exercise an hour daily for days, but that doesn't make it easy long-term. Peak motivation lets them temporarily tackle hard tasks, but setting 1 hour daily as a permanent goal backfires. Within weeks, motivation drops. Suddenly, that hour becomes impossibly hard with low drive, leading to quitting and self-blame. Tiny Habit strategy minimizes motivation's impact to build true, lasting habits. The core idea? Small, easy changes are the starting point for everything. For exercise, just 2 wall push-ups daily. It's nearly effortless. Seconds long, almost impossible to fail. So no matter how motivation fluctuates, you'll still do it. Some scoff, calling such simple actions meaningless. They insist, go big or go home! But the author emphasizes that progression is essential for lasting habits. With time and patience, tiny habits spark massive transformation. See, when people succeed at something, their motivation to do it again increases. The author's research shows that success frequency, not achievement size, boosts motivation most. Meaning, the more small wins someone has, the more confident and motivated they become. And through repetition, their ability grows too. As motivation and ability grow together, they naturally expand habits to tackle harder challenges. Take exercise. Wall push-ups may evolve into floor push-ups and more reps over time. Further down the line, adding exercises in longer sessions. This gradual progression turns exercise into something sustainable. No peak motivation needed. The author compares habit building to growing a tree. Tiny habits start as sprouts becoming mighty oaks. Deeply rooted through countless small actions, they withstand storms, unlike habits built on hard tasks alone, which are like shallow-rooted trees easily toppled.
So the recap, part 1. Behavior requires motivation, ability, and prompt. Motivation fluctuates. Relying solely on it rarely builds lasting habits.
Tiny habits uses small wins to steadily boost motivation and ability, scaling up to sustainable habits. Now that we've covered the theory, let's dive into part 2, implementing tiny habits. The author's 4-step method starts with identifying target habits. Habits matter because they fulfill our aspirations. Eating fruit for health, waking early for better work-life balance. You get the idea. So we build habits around these aspirations. Fogg advises writing down aspirations, then brainstorming all possible supporting actions. Beyond solo brainstorming, ask friends or search online. At this stage, ignore effectiveness or feasibility. Just brainstorm as many options as possible. Say Xiao Wang wants to reduce stress. His actions might include leaving work on time, avoiding overtime, meditating, jogging, etc. Next, we identify behaviors worth cultivating long-term. The author calls these golden behaviors. Golden behaviors must effectively fulfill aspirations and feel personally desirable. In Xiao Wang's case, leaving work on time feels desirable, but it might not actually reduce stress. It could pile up unfinished work, leading to boss criticism that increases stress. Frustrating? Absolutely, but that's reality. Meditation does reduce stress, but Wang lacks motivation since he just Googled it, so not golden. If Wang enjoys jogging and it reduces stress, but rarely jogs due to busyness, that's his golden behavior. Because it's genuinely desired, core to tiny habits. Step 2. Simplify golden behaviors into tiny habits. As said earlier, start with ultra-low ability requirements to bypass motivation swings. 2 methods simplify golden behaviors. First, starter step. Just do the very first action of the behavior. For jogging, putting on shoes. Wang doesn't need to run, just put shoes on, then take them off. In practice, after putting shoes on, he might think, might as well run a bit since I'm ready. Driven by this mindset, tiny habits naturally evolve into golden behaviors. Second method, scaling down, making the behavior microscopically small. The author's example, wanting to floss daily for health.
His tiny habit, flossing just one tooth, the smallest possible version.
Starter steps and scaling down often work together.
Take Sarika, the author's student who wanted a daily breakfast habit. Sarika's starter step, turning on the gas stove, letting it run empty for minutes, then turning it off. Soon, this tiny habit evolved from stove lighting to boiling a pot of water. Then, Sarika felt boiling water without adding rice was silly, so she started making congee. Compared to complex breakfasts, congee became her scaled-down experiment. Within months, Sarika built a full breakfast habit, advancing from congee to elaborate recipes. That's tiny habits' power. The author cautions against rushing to expand tiny habits into complex behaviors. Tiny habits grow gradually, like organic processes. When the time's right, you'll naturally feel driven to tackle harder tasks. Until then, just master your current tiny habit. That foundation matters. No need to obsess over leveling up. Let it happen naturally. If higher challenges overwhelm you, step back to your tiny habit. Return when ready. As habits grow, we can further reduce difficulty to sustain progress. The author shares 3 techniques. First, skill building. When skilled at something, we're likelier to persist through harder versions. Build skills through online tutorials, friends' advice, or workshops. For jogging, proper form and breathing techniques make running smoother. Less effort means easier persistence, naturally lowering difficulty. Second technique, finding the right tools. Take the author's flossing habit. Seemingly simple, but surprisingly tricky. His tightly packed teeth made flossing strenuous, like tooth extraction, and painful. Floss snapping between teeth also derailed habit formation. His fix, testing countless floss types until finding thin floss, making it effortless and motivating persistence. Sticking with the habit naturally lowers difficulty over time. The third method is to reduce environmental resistance to behavior. To lose weight, the author decided to cultivate a healthy eating habit. To this end, he redesigned the fridge layout. He prepped large amounts of healthy food like washed and chopped broccoli and celery, boiled eggs, fresh fruits, and yogurt ready to eat, all stored in glass containers for grab-and-go convenience. At the same time, he kept no unhealthy food in the fridge. This way, when eating, he didn't have to agonize over choices or spend much time cooking, making healthy eating an effortless behavior. Reducing difficulty not only helps build habits, but is also an effective business strategy. Many products attract massive users through simple operations. Take the photo sharing app. Instagram's founder, Mike Krieger, was a graduate of the author's Tiny Habits workshop. After completing the workshop, Krieger decided to develop a photo sharing app. At the time, there were many similar apps on the market, typically feature-heavy and complicated to use. Krieger knew that to make people use it frequently, the app had to be simple enough.
Thus, Instagram had only 3 features: take photos, apply filters, and share, making it easy for users to enjoy photo sharing.
With its simple user experience, Instagram quickly went global, valued at over $100 billion. The third step of the tiny habit strategy is to find the right prompt. As mentioned earlier, no behavior happens without a prompt. Prompts come in many types. Some rely purely on memory to know when to act, while others use lists or alarms to remind them what to do. The author's most recommended prompt is action. Specifically, this means using your existing habits as prompts for new habits. If you want to build a new habit of eating fruit daily, you could set it to happen right after breakfast. If you want to build a habit of reading daily, you could do it for 10 minutes after getting into bed at night. Here, eating breakfast and getting into bed are our existing habits, serving as prompts for the new ones. The author believes that action prompts are more effective than relying on memory or lists. With action prompts, we bundle new habits with existing ones, letting the new habits naturally integrate into daily life, which aids in their cultivation. To maximize action prompts, ensure they align with new habits. First alignment. Location, prompts, and habits work best when occurring in the same place. Take reading. Prompting with brushing teeth. After brushing, read works worse than bedtime reading, because bedtime and reading both happen in bed. Effortless, with books already on your nightstand. Reading flows naturally in bed, versus post-brushing, leaving bathroom, finding book, sitting down, too many failure points. Alignment also matters in purpose. Prompts and habits should share the same goal. This creates logical connections that strengthen reminders. Say, someone drinks morning coffee to boost work productivity. Using coffee as prompt, pair it with work-related habits, like reviewing daily tasks after coffee. But if coffee is for relaxation, pair with meditation, not work tasks. Additionally, describe prompts as specific final actions. A gently arrive at office is vague. Better, after powering on my computer or placing toothbrush back in cup. For showering, after hanging up the towel. Specificity clarifies exactly when to trigger habits, making them stick. Step 4 of tiny habits. Celebrate successes. Behaviors paired with positive emotions become more repeatable. Why? Positive feelings trigger dopamine release, a neurochemical creating satisfaction. The brain remembers dopamine triggering actions and craves repetition. Stronger emotions create stronger cravings. So behaviors like gaming or eating sweets easily become habits. Using this principle, we can make behaviors turn into habits more easily. The author recommends celebrating after each behavior, boosting positive emotions that cement it in your brain. Celebration timing matters. To link positive feelings with the behavior in your brain, celebrate immediately after finishing. For jogging, celebrate when you stop running, not after showering. To amplify celebration, celebrate when thinking about the behavior, during it, and after completion. In jogging, celebrate when planning to jog, during the jog, and after finishing. This gives 3 celebrations per job, constantly reinforcing it in your brain. How to celebrate varies. Any words or actions evoking pride or success work. Just find what feels authentic to you. For emotionally expressive Westerners, celebration comes naturally. Finding their style is easy. But Asian cultures favor modesty. People rarely show emotions openly. The author provides guidance to help such individuals find celebration styles.
First, he lists common methods: humming favorite songs, joyful movements like fist pumps or mini dances.
Many use positive affirmations. I'm amazing. Or,
Nailed it.
others imagine joyful scenes, kids laughing or pets playing. Try these to discover your fit. The book's appendix details 100 celebration methods. Interested listeners can explore. Second, explore celebration styles by imagining success scenarios. Imagine yourself overcoming obstacles to land your dream job. What would you do the moment you're told you got accepted? Or imagine your favorite sports team battling for the world championship, tied in the final game, then clinching victory. What would you do then? Your first instinctive reaction is likely your most natural celebration style.
Let's recap part 2. Tiny habits involves 4 steps. First, identify golden behaviors that fulfill aspirations while feeling genuinely desirable.
Second, simplify golden behaviors into tiny habits using starter steps or scaling down. Further reduce difficulty through skill building, finding tools, or minimizing environmental friction. Third, find effective prompts. Fourth, celebrate successes. Beyond building good habits, many want to stop harmful ones, like oversleeping or binge eating sweets. All behaviors require motivation, ability, and prompt. Weaken any one element to prevent the behavior. Now for part 3, how to actually do this. The simplest approach? Remove prompts. Don't let triggering cues appear near you. Example, quitting desserts? Tell family not to buy them. No desserts in sight means fewer cravings. Reducing WeChat scrolling? Mute notifications during work and keep phones out of sight. If prompts can't be removed, target ability, make the behavior harder. The author offers 3 methods. First, increase physical effort. To watch less TV, he stored his television deep in a storage room. To watch it, he'd need to haul it out, reconnect cables. Extremely inconvenient. Result? He only watched for truly important content. Effort can also mean mental strain. To reduce app usage, set complex passwords. Mix uppercase and lowercase letters with numbers, long enough to deter mindless opening. This makes logging into apps a hassle, effectively reducing usage. The second way to make behaviors harder is to make them costly. Say someone wants to lose weight, they could tell family, "If you catch me snacking after dinner, I owe you $100. This raises the cost of snacking, naturally reducing it. Making behaviors harder. Third method, create schedule conflicts. Specifically, make unwanted behaviors clash with valued commitments, forcing a choice. To avoid oversleeping, commit to making family breakfast or schedule early meetings. If these truly matter to you, you'll naturally find motivation to rise early. That covers prompts and ability. Next, weakening motivation to break habits. The author notes this is toughest, reserved only when prompts or ability adjustments fail. Take drinking. If someone drinks to relieve work stress, they could try alternatives like meditation, music, or venting to friends. This weakens the motivation to drink. Others use self-threats, publicly declaring sobriety on social media or posting health risks of alcohol where visible. This creates psychological pressure when drinking, but the author views this as counterproductive, not recommended. Habit breaking is gradual. Instant elimination is unrealistic. Even with self-threats, few quit drinking cold turkey. At best, they reduce slightly, and any drinking triggers self-criticism and anxiety. Result? Accumulated stress from these negative feelings ironically fuels more drinking. Beyond targeting MAP elements, we can also build new habits to replace old ones. Specifically, design new habits triggered by existing prompts. Example, someone who scrolls for hours on their phone in bed, severely disrupting sleep. So he can use bedtime as a prompt. Consider other interesting activities like reading or listening to radio broadcasts. After getting into bed each time, engage in these alternatives instead of binging short videos. But without altering this harmful habit, he'll still succumb to video temptation. Thus, this approach must combine with weakening ability and motivation to work effectively. He could delete short video apps or set complex passwords to increase viewing difficulty. Simultaneously, finding genuinely engaging books or radio programs strengthens new behavior motivation, making harmful habits easier to quit. All right, let's summarize part 3. To terminate habits. Remove prompts, increase difficulty, or weaken motivation via behavior's 3 elements. We can also cultivate new habits to replace harmful ones. Having covered habits, we've nearly completed our exploration of tiny habits. The author believes positive emotions, not negative ones, are the most effective drivers for lasting change. Tiny habits power lives in starting small, experiencing success, and nurturing hope. These positive feelings become levers for greater transformation, building inner strength to achieve life goals. All right, that's the Fogg Behavior Model. That concludes our interpretation. Reading notes are below the audio. Until next time.